We're gonna go, hey.
Well, I mean, you can ask me again. What did you
All
ask
right.
me?
I'll ask you again. How are you feeling about your day?
I just got up.
How long ago precisely would you say?
I don't know, like one tweet and a message to you ago.
Is it safe to say that I'm like the first person that you saw this morning? Or that you talked to?
Normally, yes, but today, no.
Oh, that makes me feel bad, actually.
Well, but you have to remember, I live with a 2-year-old, and so.
Well, I mean, living with me is probably like living with a 2-year-old in many ways. Very
Like,
loud.
do you want me to tell my 2-year-old not to wake me up on Tuesday morning because my friend Nathan's going to be upset if I don't talk to him first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it. Come on.
Yeah,
I
guess.
Coffee, by the way.
Like, fair enough. Do more of what makes you happy. I mean,
you should. I should retweet this. I'm the worst, but I'm happy to see you. It's Monday. Yeah. Is it Monday? Yeah, it's Monday.
It's Monday for you. It's Tuesday for me.
Do you ever do anything fancy with your hair like I'm doing today?
I just cut like half my hair, like 3/4 of my hair off last week.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it used to come down to here, and now it's like here.
It came down. It came down to your waist.
No, but nipple-ish area.
Damn, you're committed to that hippie lifestyle.
Yeah, well, it's really curly, so when it dries, it kind of curls up, and so it doesn't look as long as it actually is.
All right, I just retweeted this out, so now people in the Twitterverse, they can actually get in on this. You know what I'm saying, dog? Oh wait, what is this? Minecraft Championship kicks off October 23rd.
For
the headline I just read. I don't know, but that's sort of Uplift related. How's everything going with you in Uplift? Are you excited? Are you building anything new? Are you?
Yeah. So just so everyone who's watching knows, today we're just gonna basically do a day of updates because there's a lot going on in my life. There's a lot going on in your life. There's a lot going on in Uplift and Yoshi and like other stuff that we're doing that's blockchain crypto related. So we thought today we'd just jump on here and do a quick kind of update. Yeah, so that's cool. Let's start with Uplift. That's a good place to start. So on the Uplift side, we're actually down for maintenance for the next, I guess, 48. Well, not the next 48 hours. It already started, but essentially we're down for maintenance for 48 hours. We are porting the other servers, the rest of the servers beyond Genesis, over to AWS.
Cool.
So when we come back live, you'll be able to go into those other servers again, and they will actually all be connected to AWS, which from what I've seen or personally experienced on Genesis, we did that about 3 weeks ago, is much faster, much more smoother. The rendering times are a little bit quicker, but definitely like the movement times seem to be better in my mind. So very excited about that. That's the main thing that's happening. Last week in the Chicken Caw aerial vicinity, Shipletopia opened. And Shipletopia is this whole like kind of, it's almost like a theme park within the Uplift world, which is really fun. So they got some really cool stuff. We actually have the background. I don't know. I haven't honestly been in there very much, but we have the background. You might be able to see. It's actually, I didn't change it, but it's actually a giant rocket. Which is in there.
That's it, Shipletopia or Shiplemania. Yeah. What is it again? Shipletopia, right?
Shipletopia, yeah. So do you know about Shipple?
I'm familiar. I have some very illustrious colleagues of mine that I think are associated with Shipple, and I've heard good things. And I even heard the word Shipple in an Action Bronson song. He said, "Tell the pilot, land the Shipple." Life's ironic, ain't it simple? That was the line. It's a little rough, I think I heard, but he's in there.
That'd be interesting. Like it was started as basically a joke coin, right?
And that's cool. I mean, I think I missed our interview actually. You interviewed, he was supposed to be on here.
No, it was like Corey who started it, really. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You did miss it. Yeah. So I understand what you're saying. So Corey started it, and then the person who took it over was Marty Bullshipples.
Yes.
And yeah. So you did miss that one. But sorry, I got confused. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's kind of crazy. So with all of this liquidity now flying around the market,
Crazy.
it's interesting. So that's the second update that we have is Blue Deck. Blue Deck's going on not even a week yet. It opened up, and although I'm not directly involved, I'm a tertiary satellite of what has been happening. So
I could have put it. It's an interesting way of wording it. Sure.
Right. I like to give updates when updates are due. So there's 22, I believe, coins now. We're gonna start with 21, but
a lot of people know 22 is my number, so it's actually
really? Yeah. Well, we were only gonna have 21 for the first kind of season, and then like maybe later we were gonna open it up to more. But one of the people that we approached about getting their tokens on to Blue Deck was Ken, and the Ken coin. And we were just like, I guess Corey was just like, okay, well, it's all right. We'll just wait till the next season. And something happened where like Ken called him up in like an hour or 2 hours later. And he's like, okay, I just canceled the sale. Get me in there. So that was 22nd, which was fun.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, people are so excited about seeing this new gamified brand of DeFi come to Wax that they're kind of like, all right, I just want to be a part of it, you know? I think a lot of people, they know it's gonna be awesome. They're not like even sure, because I know some people who've got questions still on it, and like because it just how it works. And a lot of people like are just excited that something like that's going on here, and they're willing to learn. You know, they're like willing to just find out. Essentially, the project's a great project. It's one of those things where people just don't want to miss out on it, I think.
So you've been in the space for a long time. So let me ask you, like, what is the benefit of an incentivized liquidity pool for any ecosystem? What do you think?
I mean, it helps move your stuff. I mean, essentially, at the end of the day, if you're a creator, at least from my point of view, it helps you incentivize sales in a lot of ways, or at least reward your community for participating in your ecosystem. So it's nice to be able to, I guess, give back in a way where it's not always coming out of your pocket, because you need that too. Like you need to survive as well, and your family needs to be fed, but you want to provide a value to your community as well. So any way that creators and influencers can do that, I hate the word influencer, but it is what it is, right? Like that's what a lot of us are in this space in some way. And we want to provide like value back to the people that show us love and support. And one way we can do that is obviously like the monetary side of things. And this makes it so much easier to even think about doing that.
There's so many problems with blockchain and crypto that haven't really been solved from the regular financial sector, the regular financial part before blockchain and crypto. And this is my opinion, so I could be wrong. And I do think that we're on the road to settling this, and I do think that incentivized liquidity pools are one way in which we can do this. But you know, when I first got into crypto, and I haven't even been in that long, but like 2017-ish, before the last kind of major bull run, just before the last major bull run. I'm pretty sure when I entered, that was the day that kicked off the bull run that like crashed the whole damn thing.
Like he's in. Pull your money.
The stadium imploded. I sometimes wonder if I'm living in the Matrix. Seriously. But yeah, like up until recently, and this isn't Blue Deck specific. This isn't Wax specific. This is kind of across the board. Up until recently, there wasn't really any way to capitalize upon your gains in the crypto space other than selling, right? And so then what you have is you have these massive price run-ups, and then you have all of these people who are selling to get some money out, and then they keep doing this over and over and over again. Right? But now with projects that allow you to stake, right? Like you've got Blue DAC is the newest, which is over on Wax. But you've got one over on Terra that's looking at this kind of thing, a project that I used to work for, Tribe. They rebranded into Loop. They're doing some really interesting things over there with their decks. You got Egg Chain, for example. You got Pancake Swap. You got DeFi Box on EOS. You got tons of them over on Ethereum as well. Now, for the first time ever, actually, you can, in a way, be your own bank, because you have these liquidity pools that allow you to stake your tokens, that allow you to try to help to balance out the system of the projects that you believe in, and they allow you to get a return. And in some cases, a really good return, right? Like I was a little bit annoyed yesterday. I'll be honest. I was a little bit annoyed because I went into like Blue DAC and I was like, man.
Oh, this is the perfect time.
It's like 0.5% I'm getting on my return. And I'm just like, wait a minute. I can't believe I'm annoyed at like 0.5%. Like, when have I ever gotten 0.5% in the regular world, right? Like some of these tokens like TLM, Trillium, I think it's still sitting at like 1.5 or 1.6%, right? Like the first 24 hours was insane. It was like 20-30% for some of these tokens, right? Yeah. But as time goes on, these things will stabilize. These things will get better. So I think it's like really important for people to understand what you were saying, though, because it allows these tokens, it allows these blockchains, it allows these platforms to be stable. And I mean, if you've ever if you've ever tried selling anything on the blockchain on a platform that's not stable, it's pretty much like trying to own like a China stop, like a China shop, like on an earthquake zone in the middle of an earthquake when the bulls have been released, right?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, because a lot of our communities are very stable in terms of their sustainability. Like a lot of them are people that are just never going to abandon these projects, or at least conceivably won't anytime soon, as long as things keep going well. So you have all these stable communities pegged to something that's so volatile. It is kind of difficult. Like, you want to be able to reward people in a way where they feel secure, like their quote unquote investment, if it is what, sort of what you've provided them in some way, is secure. And, they want to know that like they're not susceptible to everyone else's emotional swings in the market and everybody else's issues. Like, like you don't want your NFT project to be susceptible to the same market swings as like Bitcoin, for instance. Like, you don't want like general trading, because that's the thing. I think a lot of like general trading behavior from Wall Street entered into the crypto environment in the last year and a half, especially. And like now you're seeing people, their communities being infiltrated by like quote unquote investors. And that's cool. There's a place for everybody. It's a cool opportunity for people to be a part of something, but it can sort of destroy and deteriorate the value system a lot of communities have established before that got there. So now you just have, people going up and down with the volatility of the financial side of it, when really like their community doesn't want to have anything to do with it in the first place. They're just there for the art or the collectibles or whatever it is that they're doing there,
Yeah, I had an interesting scenario last week as well, with the crypto writer team. And they did their kind of release over on the Terra blockchain with their Crunks. And the Crunks was done by John Trafford, which is the same artist that did their Crypto Finny project. And it was cool. I mean, it was interesting. It's another kind of, NFT project that they're going to build a comic around. But what I saw, like, is still, I'm still trying to figure this out because I still don't get it. I really don't, right? Like, there was a lot of FUD that I'm not used to because we're pretty good over in the uplift. Like, the worst FUD I've ever like been a part of in terms of a project is Yoshi Drops by far. And that was like one day. And that was just like one day where we decided to do something. Yeah, I can't hear you actually, but you muted.
I remember that day too. I know I have.
Right. And I was just like, it was really annoying. And it was just, I think because we decided to port something away and people were upset, but now it's kind of died down. But these guys were relentless, man. I mean, and I'm really glad that some of the community basically told them to fuck off, because like some of them came in and they're just like, oh, you've had the private sale open for 2 hours, and like now you've got like the next sale open, and you need to be whitelisted to participate on these 2 sales, right?
Right.
And they only lasted for 4 hours before the whole thing went public, and we're only halfway through the second sale, and you've only sold like 4,500 out of 10,000. This project sucks. This project's going to shit. This project's gonna fail. And like, and I was just like, what is happening? Like, we're not even open the public scale. Like,
reaction.
Right? Like you haven't sold out, and like a bunch of the team was like, well, yeah, we haven't sold out because it's not open to the public. We don't know what's gonna happen, right? And so then you had these other people that were coming in, and they were saying like, oh yeah, like this is what you need to do. The team needs to cut the supply. They need to like kill the supply by half, like drop it down to 5,000 from 10,000, burn all the rest of them, and that's what's going to save the project. And I'm really happy. Like one guy came in. He can be a prick, but I love him for it because he's got a good point. And he's like, nobody here on the team is going to say this to you, right? I'm not on the team, by the way, but I just love this comment. He's like, nobody here on the team is going to say this to you. But basically what you're saying is, okay, you've got your, little NFTs, your little tokens. You've got those, right? Yeah. And so now what you want to do is you want to reduce the supply by half and like kill it. Basically, you want to like safeguard your thing and prevent anyone else from coming in. Like, fuck you, you fucking asshole, right? Yeah. It was a really good point. But then what happened continued to blow my mind, right? Like it continued to blow my mind, like to the point of like, I don't understand how anyone can believe that like there wasn't some shady business going on when you have a woman as innocent as Snow White living in the countryside with 7 dwarfs that spend all day in the mines. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you put 2 and 2 together, there's probably something happening at least there. Maybe not with Grumpy. Maybe that's why he's grumpy. Maybe we've solved the mystery.
Grumpy's just tired of the time. He's like, I can't handle this anymore.
Right. Moving on. Moving on. Welcome to Love is the Answer with Nathan and Jimmy D, where always, for some reason, we end up throwing in some weird random Disney reference.
I know. I don't get it. You either go on some crazy rant about it, or I'll make a comment about like innocently the cartoon characters, which is what everybody loves about it. I like Dopey. He's my favorite.
Yeah, Dopey's good. I mean, you can't go wrong with Dopey. He's just sitting in the corner being Dopey. And I wonder why. Like, again, how has nobody ever put 2 and 2 together? There's a reason he's always lagging in the forest, and looks like his satchel's full of stuff.
Mushrooms. There it is. He's finding them in the forest.
Right. And it's lovable. Anyway, the next thing that happened over in this project was incredibly amazing to me, because when the prices went live, so they were on sale for 3 Terra, or the equivalent of USD. We're on sale for 3 Terra, or the equivalent of UST, which is a stable coin. And when the prices went live, the floor of these NFTs was less than 1 Terra. So people were selling them for less than a third of what they bought them for.
That's crazy.
I was like, what am I missing? Seriously. What is happening where you buy something and then you sell it for like a third of the price? Like, unless you're just trying to drive the price of everything down, I just don't get it. And then it occurred to me, you know what? I remember these days back in Ethereum with the early tokens that released right before the crash. They were promising, amazing things, and the price ran up with like zero utility. And I remember these days. Days. In DeFi, where everyone was just piling in and like the tokens were running up. But this to me does not make any sense. Why would anyone sell a digital asset like an NFT for less than they bought it for? And I thought, who would I know that might actually be able to answer this question for me? And that is my good bro over here, Nathan. What do you think? What would cause somebody to do that? Because I really don't get it. I just really don't get it.
So, I mean, there's a few things I could think of. One could be just somebody who's incredibly wealthy who doesn't mind wasting a little money to tank a project that they hate. Unfortunately, I mean that's you've seen performers spend like thousands of dollars to buy tickets at other performers' concerts to leave the front seats empty, that kind of thing.
It's a shitty world we live in, really.
It is, and that's one thing. I could see where if they had miscalculated their price and they thought maybe this was going to be too high and they wanted people to be able to get in, didn't have the money, they could tank their own price and like allow people to buy it cheap, kind of make it seem like a dip. But that doesn't make sense either. Like you obviously want to maintain your floor price. So honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, it could be. I mean, I find it hard to believe that maybe a lot of people needed money at the same time, but it was potentially one buyer, like one big buyer that was just like
it wasn't. You can see the wallet. I mean, it could be. I guess they could have hundreds of wallet addresses, but you can see the wallet addresses right on the sales, right on the
yeah, and
that's random Earth site, and so I just think that, so getting to where I was going, because you might be right, there might be something like that, but I don't think there was any shady business. I just think that we're so spoiled in this space that people got to the point, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get a return, and I didn't get my 10x, so I'm gonna sell just so that I don't have to get a loss. And then other people were like, oh, other people are selling, so I'm just gonna, at least I can get a third of my money back before this project goes to zero. And it like totally resembles what I saw was so many like IPOs, like releases and ICOs and things like that, right? And it's kind of crazy. Like as an artist, like this is something that I really hate to see, right? Like people are going back to what you were saying, speculating upon this art and not really appreciating the value or the future potential that comes out of it. And it's really hard. And I think in wax in general, we're really lucky.
Well, that's tough as an artist too, because in some ways you want them to speculate on your art, or else how can you be the next Picasso, Dali? Basquiat.
Yeah.
But you also need people to love it and appreciate it. Like if there aren't a good amount of people that love it and appreciate it for what it is, and you for who you are, but also there aren't an amount of people speculating on it, that means that the traditional art market can't feel like they're going to get a proper return, and they won't really support it. There's like,
I don't have a problem with the speculation, actually.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a tough space. It's tough to negotiate those two propositions and decide what's more.
Well, I just don't get why anyone would sell a piece of art for less than they bought it for.
It doesn't make sense.
To me, right?
It doesn't make sense. Like that's unless like people really need money, but then how can there be that many people that need money?
But it was less than 12 hours previous that they spent that money to buy it, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
Like it's really like,
yeah, I don't understand that kind of stuff. Like,
so
it could have been some like kind of weird community effort to like send a message. Like that's the weird thing. Like, it's so hard to tell nowadays. There's so many things, moving pieces, but.
I mean, in the end, it's going to be great because I went in after and like, the Discord was a bit of a mess and people are saying, well, you got to support the floor. You got to buy up your own projects. So like, you got to give us rebates. And I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, seriously, are we at that point? Like, if I ever come to you, I'm so adamant about this that I will actually like send you a free plane ticket. But if I ever come to you and say, hey, Nathan, I just bought a piece of art for you and I need a refund because the price tanked, like, can you seriously get on a plane, fly over here and slap me across the fucking face? Like, that's
I'll have people that I've done like NFT giveaways and given like they won. So like, here's your NFT. And then like 6 months later, they'll hit me up like, I can't sell this. Can you just buy it off me? And I'm like, wow, I should screenshot that and like put it out there because that's just so dirty to say to someone. But people also don't realize what they're saying. Like they don't know that they don't know that hurts, an artist or whatever, or a community too, which is how you arrive at profit in a lot of these situations. You build community and then you have profits. You can't have one without the other.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Say hi to Nathan. Hello.
I'm putting in a lot of energy. You're not even gonna wave?
No, she just woke up. This is like me.
I just painted one hand, one nails.
What color?
It's
purple.
It says Slicks and Stones. It's like sort of a purplish color. It's very nice.
Nice. Yeah, so Morton brings up a really good point. And what Morton said was before I forget, what Martin said was maybe they bought it at $1, right? Like maybe they bought Luna at $1 and now it's like worth $40 or $50. So like, but again, this just goes to show the idiocracy of the world that we live in, because people are like, they're like goldfish, right? They've got this point where it's like, oh, I only bought it for $1, but like, you know, like 30 minutes prior you spent 3 of them and now you're selling it for 1. Like it doesn't, the math doesn't add up. Like there's this frenzy that's happening. And I think, like, going back to what I was kind of starting on and hitting on your comment, what's interesting about all of this is that is actually one of the reasons for, you know, liquidity pools and for, you know, incentivized LP, is to be able to stabilize these markets so that like projects don't come in and get dumped all over by these massive whales, right? And there's been different people who have done different things, trying to put caps on things, but there's always a way to skirt that, right? And I remember back in the early days of 2017, I mean, for the most part, I'm out of the hole now. Like for the most part, many of the projects that I invested in, I've got at least my money back or a little bit of a return, which is crazy when I say that, because like there's some projects that, you know, there's some projects
all the
that
people,
nuts.
All the people that, like, you know, bought Bitcoin at like 19,000 the first time it went all the way up to all-time high, and then it went like all the way back under 4,000. Like now they're very happy, but like back then, I mean, you'd be like, God, I'm such an idiot, you know. and it's hard to see in the moment. Like it's always good to hold on and just see what happens. Like
I mean, why I didn't buy more Bitcoin at 3,000 is kind of crazy, right? But it's hard to believe that things are going to get to this level. Like we're sitting at what, 60 something now? 60 something thousand.
I have bags that I bought when I was like working my sewing job when I was pretty much effectively broke. I had some bags I bought for $7 and $8 that are now several $1,000 because of like when, you know, it's just like it was a couple of years ago and stuff. So it just worked out that way. But yeah, it's crazy. But I think what you're saying about liquidity pools is the truth. I mean, you want to incentivize people to lock things up and not resell them, or resell them for what they're worth, you know. It's like, why would I short this thing to get my money back when I can just earn passive income off of it? So that's like the main advantage of allowing that, I think. But I want to see people enjoy it too. Like there's another side of it where like people are actually having fun with finance, and that's something we haven't seen in a very long time.
Yeah, and I think that's what I like about the ecosystems that I tend to participate in. The majority of them are quite positive in that sense, right? Like over in Wax, we've got a bunch of, you know, different projects that are doing a bunch of different things, and you know, for the most part, people are supportive, and that's what was interesting about this project is a lot of the OG community in this project that I'm talking about. They are that from that Wax supportive side. But then it was interesting to see what happened when all of the people that like don't know about what's going on over here in Wax kind of flooded in. And it made me kind of think, right? Like, and so I'm not trying to be maximalist in that sense, but I think that where we're coming from in the Wax ecosystem, we've been grinding for so long that we've kind of built like this small town where everybody knows everybody, even if we don't really associate with other people. We all kind of like understand that, like, okay, well, these people might not be our people, but at the same time, they're kind of like from our village, or they're from our place, that they've recognized the benefit and the power in Wax's NFTs and for artwork and for you know, scalability and all of these things, and they're doing their own thing. And I don't know, like I might see,
having said that though, I've never sold a piece on Wax for as much as I have on ETH.
Yeah. So
I'm talking like thousands of dollars difference.
Yeah. And so, that was the other thing that I was kind of wanting to ask you about. Like, so now you do have a collection on Wax, but you haven't really released very much on it. So I'm kind of curious, like what's in the works for you in terms of art? I know you've been focusing on music. The other thing that we'll talk about maybe later if we have some time, but we're going to be on a stream tonight, my time, tomorrow morning, your time. We're going to do a stream where we're going to talk about some up and coming Yoshi Drops artists that are going to perform in the metaverse at the end of the month. So 29, 30, and 31st over in Crypto Voxels. You're one of them, along with a few others. You know, it's a good job. I've got my assistant here to make sure that my earplugs always stay in. But you've been working with music, but you've also been putting together some art. So when do we get an update, and when do we get this wax released? Because I wanna buy some of your art on wax.
So I have 5 pieces available right now. I usually only release 10 of each piece, so I keep them pretty scarce because I like, I like my collectors to feel like there's not like a ton of stuff out there. Like it's kind of personal if they manage to get one. So the one I have out now, I haven't made it very public because I just gave away some of them to people that I love, but there's 5 available on the market. They're only $22 a piece. And it's about growing up and like basically thinking of the future and like wondering what you're going to do with your life. It's called Will I Ever Moon? And
they're on wax right now?
Yeah, if you look at Love is Nathan as a collection.
Stream over. No, that's it. We're done. You only told people about them, and you're only telling me about this now, and they're already on the market. It's over.
I didn't release it. I didn't release it because I planned on giving them away all as gifts.
Okay.
And then I only ended up giving away 5. So,
nice.
So I listed the rest, and I was like, you know what? If anybody finds these are like really special ones, and if somebody happens to be like searching for my thing and they find it, like they kind of deserve to get it. So
that's cool. How many viewers do we have here? Just can you guys there's 5 people viewing. God damn it. My password's in the closet. I can't get it.
You can all get some, and I get some like cool like business deals and like art and music deals in the works. So a lot of that stuff, I mean, I think it's probably gonna be worth more in the future, personally, because I'm like I haven't even dropped this stuff. I'm like really like it's probably gonna drive that. So I'm excited. That's why I sell these things for like $20 and $30 because I want people that are like supporting me to like get my art, because a lot of things similar I'm selling on Ethereum for like 1-2 ETH. So.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Like, I think we're not that far away from like the Terra blockchain. They're doing some really interesting things in terms of providing bridges to other ecosystems. And, my friend Sean, who I do stream with once a week as well, he was making some really valid points, I think, by saying that like it reminds him of back in the early days, like back in the ICO shortly post ICO days of EOS, right? Or maybe like the kind of forking days of Bitcoin Cash, or potentially like the early release days of Polkadot. Although I don't think Polkadot's really done yet. The parachains haven't really released yet, so I think there's a lot of speculation to be happening there. But like and Solana, for example, like but there's nothing really happening on Solana at present. I'm not putting them down. I think what they've got coming is going to be cool, but they need to get their shit figured out, right? Like no marketplaces are situated even close, in my opinion, to what's happening with Atomic and Nifty blocks in terms of.
Agreed.
Say what they will, but like in terms of like showcasing art and NFTs, these are the epitome. And like, I mean, OpenSea is okay. There's nothing majorly wrong with OpenSea, but it's kind of like
from a legal standpoint, or some of the things that they're dealing with right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I hope that they've stamped that out.
I certainly hope so. It's not a good one.
Yeah. So. Has Nathan given up on Time for Love? I don't know what Time for Love is. Maybe
Time for Love was a collection that I was not able to get verified. This one got verified before it. So it's like, and it wasn't cohesive. My Twitter handle is Love is Nathan. The new collection is Love is Nathan. It just makes more sense. So My Instagram as well as Nathan. So it's just cohesive. Everything flows together. It makes a lot more sense. The other was one of those things a lot of NFT artists have where they were new at one chain or another, and they just started a collection. Like they had to. Everything on Atomic requires 12 letters, so you have to make up some name that has the specific amount of characters, which is what I did. And yeah, that's all it was. And honestly, this one just outpaced the other one in terms of getting noticed, I guess.
So it's what do you say, like in the writing industry, that's like your shadow hand, that's the hand that nobody knows about?
Yeah, like that's the other thing. I mean, I'll just be honest, like a couple people know, and I'm not gonna out myself on it, but like a couple people know the specific ones that I'm a part of, but I'm like ghost artisting for a lot of stuff. Like I have a bunch of collections that are mine that I haven't really claimed as mine. A lot of things I've done. I mean, we don't all talk about everything, but like I've got like a few like secret identities as an artist for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of in that. I was kind of in that boat for a long time as well, where I was doing a bunch of writing for a bunch of different projects, before I got busy over in the Uplift and the things that we do now. So that's kind of exciting to be in that predicament and just help out other people and watch other people grow. And it's nice too because when you do collaborations with other people, or you write or do music or you do art with other people, and you're limited to just like maybe a fine print at the end that says Nathan was here, or Jimmy curated this, or sometimes like completely anonymous. People just have to read between the lines and see that the style is the same. It's kind of nice too because it opens you up to like a whole new audience, I think.
Kim found me on one because he heard me doing an interview with Andy Milanakis. Nice. And he was like, "Was that you?" I was like, maybe.
All right. I think it's interesting for sure. So there's something else that you've been doing recently as well. You started your own podcast. A new podcast. Tell us about that.
The Heal and Feel podcast. So
yeah, I watched it. I watched it on very low volume last night, which kind of suited because my daughter's a little bit sick, so she was sleeping. I didn't want to wake her up, but I listened to it. As two really smart guys talking about some really serious shit. But it was definitely well worth a listen, I think.
Thanks, man. That podcast, if a lot of people don't know who Dimitri is, he's the father of Vitalik Buterin, who created Ethereum. So like he's very linked into the crypto space, obviously. And he's like a close friend. He's a very spiritual guy, and we just kind of have bonded on like a lot of levels, just with just talking about things and stuff. So we thought it'd be a cool idea to bring like a lot of the conversations that we kind of have in our personal time to basically publicly just put it out there and just see if people can get something out of it. A lot of it's centered on like basically what it's like to be a human. Like it can be a complex array of different emotions. Like there's so many different things going on in a human being's head in any given moment. Then you put them in different circumstances and that changes. Or we're as volatile, if not more volatile, than the crypto markets that we all kind of pay attention to. And then even on top of that, like our moods are affected by that as well. So like we're very up and down. And I think it's cool to have a space where we can document that and kind of at least acknowledge like what are we thinking, what are we feeling? These are the difficult things going on in our lives. Maybe some people can identify whether they gain some strength from it. Maybe they can go, hey, these guys are stupid. I don't care about this. Like whatever they want to feel, it's valid. Like I'm okay with all of it. So we just want to put it out there and just see what happens. But our intention is to just help people explore their emotions and heal and feel. Feeling is healing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was super fun, and I don't know if it was intentional, but I personally liked the way that it was filmed. It was more of a kind of traditional television type of interview-ish kind of format. I don't mean interview in the terms that you are interviewing each other, but like
I know what you mean.
Screen angles were going back and forth.
I wanted that more of an artist. I wanted us to be like kind of framed and just seen. I don't know. It's just a personal preference I had in terms of like the visual that I saw. But like, yeah, it's cool that you noticed that for sure. We're going for
it was really well done. I dropped it in the comments, so you can definitely check that out.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the support too. That's one where it's like, it's not about. I mean, I have other shows where we're working on getting good sponsors. We already have some good sponsors. Shout out to NFT the movie. We'll be talking on my new podcast that I have with Joshua about that. We'll be revealing that soon, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But we've got a lot of cool things with like brands and sponsors on other shows. And this one, at the moment, we want to just keep like strictly just him and I. Keep it very pure, talking about emotions and just like, not mix business with pleasure, I guess, in some ways. So I think that's another cool thing about the show is
I'm from Japan and I'm all about mixing business with pleasure.
And no, as time comes, I'm sure that'll happen. But I think that it's good to start off in like a nice, in like a good place with that stuff.
No, we're very behind the times in the United States, especially, I think, but in the West in general. And I mean, there's positives and negatives to everything, but like the amount of people that like actually talk about their emotions in Western society, I can count like, like on one hand, like there's not very many people who do it, right? Like we're taught, like as young boys, like don't cry, boys don't cry
every day.
But then you go out and even like you get on the boat and you cross the Atlantic and you go, for a little bit of a stroll and you hear, different music from different cultures and you see different things happening. Like they're much more in tune with their emotions in a lot of these other cultures, right? Like sometimes eerily uncomfortable it makes me, but it's just because it's kind of the way that we grew up, right? And like I'm lucky enough to understand that the perspective that we have is a lot of what we grew up with, right? So it's easy to push yourself to a limit where you can expand that. And I think what you guys are doing is going to be really interesting because we're full of a space of people who are constantly talking about crypto, talking about gains, talking about the future, and then it's like they're going to be scrolling through Love is Nathan podcast. They might come across this like, oh yeah, this is one where Jimmy D and Nathan sometimes have a guest and they just basically talk about weird random shit, which is kind of fun because we don't know what they're going to say. Oh, and this one is one where Nathan doesn't even talk about anything other than his emotions. Okay, that's cool, right? Like and we can like broaden it out, right? Like Morton, who's in the comments, who for some reason just likes to put our shows on the air in his liquor store for old ladies who are coming in to buy pickle juice to hear. Like something like that emotional show might actually, they're going to be like, okay, they're just going to slow down and they're going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to just grab my pickle juice and run out the door. I'm going to like, walk around and find some, nice bottle of whiskey for my husband type of deal. That's what I'd like to see happen. That's the world that I want to live in anyway.
And I'll take a good Knob Creek or Maker's Mark if anybody out there's whiskey gifts. But I tried to drink too much. Papa has a tendency to overdo it. I get overserved and I'll get very jolly and people get very annoyed with me because I'm very talkative.
See, I'm not, I get really talkative too, but I just get really loud.
You get in fights?
No, I don't. Like I'm not
you getting in
like
fights.
I'm not necessarily an angry drunk. I just get super loud, right? Like I'm like I laugh like I laugh like your big aunt at the Christmas party. Like that's how
I just start playing like all kind of wild music and I'll change the song like every 30 seconds and people are like, why? Like, just let it stay on one song.
Oh yeah, totally. That would totally annoy me. I would definitely I would definitely throw something that you were going to chase out the patio door and lock it behind you. I mean, I'd come out the front door and visit you like after I calm down in like 3 minutes. But yeah,
honestly, you throw like
stop
a
changing the music.
Door, I'm gone.
Right. Yeah, it's all right. No, I can totally see why people would be annoyed. There's one thing that I actually can't stand when I'm at a party is when people don't let the song play,
Yeah,
let the song finish. And like I'm really bad for that. Like playing the same
I'm your
song
huckleberry.
over and over, or doing that in my car when it's only me, but it's like, somebody else is interested in the song. It's like then you pull it. It's just like, dude, I can totally see why people would get annoyed.
That's me for sure. I used to be what people would call like a party animal too in my early 20s. See, I'm very sophisticated and very calm, and yeah, I have a very complex and deep sense of richness and decorum. However, it was not always this way. I was a wild child, man. I'm telling you. I've fallen off of buildings. I've broken bones. I've been hit by like golf carts and all kinds of interesting all-terrain vehicles.
We've got a lot in common. I've jumped off of buildings.
I did once. It was in the snow, but it didn't mean it didn't hurt a lot. And
I did it with ropes at 3:00 in the morning. I've fallen off of mountains. I've crashed golf carts. So like, yeah, it's simple. Like I probably maybe I hit you with a golf cart. I don't know.
You probably would.
I was trying to see how fast the golf cart would go, but like they've got that little thing that like, pulls the speed off of it that won't let you go faster than a certain amount. So I went to the top of this big hill and then I popped it into neutral and I got to go really, really, really fast. But there was a little bit of dew on the grass, and when I hit the brakes, it spun around a few times and did a nice little roll.
Yeah, dude, I've been severely hurt and stuff like that. But I'm here.
You were the shopping cart guy, weren't you? You were the guy who rode the shopping cart down the
And then
park.
it hits the thing, and you end up like flying into the bushes.
Yeah, fair enough. It builds character. I like it. See, I mean, but think about it. If you weren't that character, would you really be in the space that you're in now? Right? Like it takes a certain amount of risk to be able to get into this game, right? Like, and that's what's scary about the whales is because some of these whales, right? Like the new whales that are coming in from the traditional system, right? They've got enough pull to basically take a lot of that risk off the table if they find the right project, right? But what a lot of the people who have been in here since like 2017, who have been through at least one bull run, not to mention people who have been here since like 2013 or earlier, like they're the grit guys, right? Like they figured out a way to have a better lifestyle, to have a better community, to do what they want to do, to take part in what they want to take part in, and like that's exciting to me. So I'm really, I said to somebody else, it's like, we get 50 views, live views, or 100 or a total of like 200 views on some of our shows. Like I'm happy. I don't need to have 1 million views. I'd rather have the attention of the people who care about us than, a number that means shit because we threw in some catchy title that made people do clickbait. Are you frozen? Or are you just like, are you sleeping over there? It's like, yeah, I wasn't sure there. I thought
Josh, we're gonna have a show, some clickbaity.
Right. Jimmy's on a rant. He puts Nathan to sleep. So I gotta go very soon because I have a class that I gotta teach. Believe it or not. But
when are you and me gonna do the naked wrestling?
I don't know. That's probably the best timing for that is when you change the freaking song without letting it play through at the next party that we're at. Because that's like
you're like, that's it. It's on.
Right.
Oh my god.
Right. Yeah, that's probably the best chance for that. We gotta let COVID go away first. But tomorrow night, I guess you'll join us with a few other people. I think Taylor Alexander. I think we got Chalice I Am, which is another Yoshi Drops artist. We've got Martin from over in Gems, who's helping us out with this. music fest to promote some of our Yoshi Drops artists. We've got a new one, I think, that might join us, which is DJ. Lethal Skills might join us as well from Emanate.
That sounds scary in some way. That sounds kind of terrifying.
Right. Yeah, so we should have we should have a pretty good crew for our roundtable on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about the Crypto Voxels Music Fest, talking about the Dot Gems presence over there in Crypto Voxels, and talking about like some of the Yoshi Drops and some of their artists as well. So I'm pretty excited about that. So definitely tune in here on this channel. I'm hoping to come and join you on one of your shows in the not too distant future, like next week or something, because we want to go over some of the things that are going to be happening with the latest edition of our Uplift World Gratitude Sale, phase 1, which is going to be super exciting. So hopefully we'll be making the rounds about that. Definitely tune in, go and subscribe to Nathan's new show where he talks about emotions. That's super fun. And definitely, I think you guys are going to be excited. I've heard what he's been putting out for the music that's going to be at the Music Fest, and I'm super excited. So
I hope so. I hope people like it. We put our hearts and souls into it, and we think it sounds pretty too.
Yeah, it does. It sounds great. So, do you have anything you want to shout out before we leave these fine folks for today? Or
I would say just follow me on Twitter, Love is Nathan. Same on Instagram. Check out loveisnathan.com, Love is Nathan at Atomic Hub, all that good stuff. Heal and Feel podcast, Not Another Bitcoin podcast with Ken Bozak. I'm forgetting a bunch of them. I'm sorry, people.
I can't wait. Like it's just your practice speech for the Grammys and Emmys, right?
And speaking of Grammys, the project that Bang Out and I are putting together. Bang Out is a very famed and illustrious producer, worked with many greats. He's one of the greats himself, and we're working on this music project where we are in another way trying to help people heal and feel once again through the power of music, and we're gonna put it on you. I'm guaranteeing that. So I can't wait to share.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're definitely going to do some exclusives about that on this show, but on some other ones as well. So, all right, thank you all for joining us. Please like and share this out, and come back and see us somewhere on the Ethernet, because we'll be here.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.